Before the video starts, I would like to say that this video is brought to you by Rep Sports and especially Raise Energy. For those of us in America, it's Patriot time. Whether you're serving Armed Forces Day, Memorial Day, to remember the fallen, or remembering the founding of our nation on the 4th of July, Raise Energy is the way to go. It provides a lot of the nutrients that you need on the go, as well as leaving out a bunch of the stuff in typical energy drinks that is toxic for you. And as you can see with this limited edition Apollo flavor, we have very patriotic colors going here. So if you're into a natural energy drink, Raise Energy is that for you. Be sure to follow the link in the description below, and as you can see down here, you have the promo code ALZER88, which gives you 15% off, and part of that kickback goes back to me. Thank you very much for watching. Here's the video. Hello, welcome to this weekend edition of the MMA Freak Fire of the Week. I'm Matt Salzer. So, obviously, because there's only one major fight card this last weekend, that is the one we're going to go over. UFC 262, Oliveira versus Chandler. And this had to have had one of the best comebacks I have seen in quite a while. Maybe not the best comeback of a fight overall, but definitely up there. So, in the first round, you had Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira going back and forth. And they both had their moments, but Chandler really had his moment when, after some fudging of the ground game, he actually had Oliveira against the ropes. He actually got several good shots in, and it was very close to getting finished. I was surprised that it didn't get finished when it did, but it went for quite a while, and it went to the end of the round, and I just thought, oh my gosh, Chandler's probably gonna win the belt. And then the next round starts, and Charles Oliveira not quite knocked him out, but definitely rocked him, and it just got to the point where Oliveira got the win. So we have a new Chandler. I honestly was not expecting that, but again, I mentioned the fact in the last review that Oliveira, this is just a better weight class for him. He was struggling to make featherweight, and he just was not the best fighter there. That's just what happens when you're cutting too much weight. He's a better lightweight, and this just shows. He went in there and he got it done, and he's now the new champion. So we'll just have to wait and see how his championship reign goes, because he's still got several contenders that he needs to face off against. Of note, in the co-main event though, he might have a contender already, in that Beneil Dariush has been on this very impressive winning streak that has brought him to the point where he faced off against Tony Ferguson and controlled Tony Ferguson. Something has happened with Tony Ferguson. After that Justin Gaethje fight, everything that just made him what he was, this indestructible fighter that went on the, I believe it was 9-fight winning streak. Something's happened in there. The gears just are not there. He's not the same fighter that he was. Something's happened, but either way, that doesn't take away from Beneil Dariush going in there and controlling him the way he did for all 3 rounds and coming out with the W. And it could really be said that maybe Dariush deserves the next title shot, but we'll just have to wait and see. So that was for this last weekend. Coming up this weekend, we have another one of those barn burner 3-fight weekends. So on Friday, we actually have 2 events. The first one is actually headlined by a woman, Bellator 259, well, women. But it's Bellator 259, Cyborg versus Smith. This is a rematch of their first fight in the UFC, which was actually at a catchweight, because they wanted to see if Cyborg couldn't make bantamweight and face off against Ronda Rousey. Ultimately, that did not happen. Ronda got knocked out. Cyborg just went at featherweight, and she eventually lost to Amanda Nunes, who also beat Rousey. And not after Holly Holm beat Rousey, but she still beat Rousey. So this is a rematch of that fight, and honestly, I don't see it going any different. Leslie Smith is just not, she's a natural bantamweight. I don't see it going differently. She's not this spectacular striker, and she's not this smothering wrestler who could possibly go in there and control Cyborg. I do not see it happening. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I think that's what's gonna end up happening then with Invicta. Invicta is back. on Access TV. I never thought I'd see this time coming, especially with the way things were going towards the end of Legacy Fighting Alliance's run on Access. They were unceremoniously cut because Anthem bought the majority stake, and then they wanted to put Impact on there. They just want to concentrate completely on pro wrestling, and they just cut all the MMA content, and it's just now all of a sudden they're just like, wait, so you're buying you're buying an MMA promotion and you're putting MMA back on there. I'm a little confused as to what Anthem's plans are with Access TV, because like I said, at one point they were concentrating on pro wrestling. Now all of a sudden they want to experiment with MMA, and not any MMA promotion, but an all-women's promotion. The only all-women's promotion in the US. We'll just have to wait and see how this goes. But anyways, glad to see Access finally hosting Invicta. Glad to see Invicta finally on network television, because as we all know, they've either been on pay-per-view or completely online. So this is a welcome change, and for their debut, we're gonna see a flyweight championship bout for the vacant title, because of course regularly their champions go to the UFC. We're gonna see Karina Rodriguez against Diana Torcado, and I think this is probably going to go to Rodriguez. She's one of those rising stars in women's MMA, especially in Invicta. I think she's going to come away with this. Now the question is whether she's going to go to the UFC immediately afterwards or not. Maybe she's going to want to continue to develop. Maybe that's what the UFC is going to want to do too. Maybe just let her develop a little bit more. We're just going to have to wait and see with this. But anyways, at the Atomweight Division Championship, we have defending champion Alessia Zapatella defending her title against Jessica Del Boni. Now, Alessia, again, is one of those rising stars despite being the champion, and she is in a division that's kind of thin. I have seen a lot of people saying that there should be an atomweight division, but the problem is there's just not a whole lot of depth. They suffer from the same thing that the featherweights do. So the problem there is that the UFC is just having a problem with their featherweight division, to the point where Dana White's thinking of cutting it. The only reason he is not is because Amanda bids as the queen of women's MMA right now. She wants both belts. So I doubt Dana White's going to discontinue the featherweight division if the featherweight champion and the queen of all women's MMA basically decrees that this is not going to happen. But the problem is, like I said, is with atomweight there's a similar issue, and what Dana White typically has a tendency to do is sign atomweights and fight them up to strawweight. That way that there's a bolstered strawweight division. But that's what he did with Michelle Watterson. While Michelle Watterson had fought as a strawweight before, in Invicta she was good as an atomweight. That was her division. She was champion there at one point. But there's just a lack of depth. I can attest to this because of the fact that whenever I do the MMA Freak Women's rankings, I have trouble filling in the rankings because of the lack of depth in that division. That's also another reason why I like Alessia and why I'm picking her as the potential winners, because of the fact that she actually pays attention to when she's listed in a ranking. She's a very good social media self-performer, and I really like that. And let this be a lesson to any fighters watching this. You promote us on MMA Freak, or me specifically, Matthew Salzer, you will be promoted. Anyways, that should be a good fight. Both of those are on Friday. Thank goodness for Showtime tape delays and for DVRs. I'm very much going to be using those. And we finally get to the UFC Fight Night 188. This is going to be the last one of the month because they don't want to do anything for Memorial Day weekend. But either way, we have UFC Fight Night 188. And in the main event, we have Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt. So that's also the name of the fight night, is Font versus Garbrandt. And again, we have a case of an up-and-comer going up against a veteran. Rob Font is an up-and-comer. He's looking to establish himself and get a title fight. Then you have Cody Garbrandt, who's the former champion, who, even though he rebounded in his last fight, has been in a little bit of a slide before that because he lost to Dillashaw twice and then he lost to Ray Sandhagen. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Garbrandt can win this if he doesn't fall in love with the brawling. That was the problem in his losing skid, is that he had fallen in love with the brawling fight style. You don't want to do that. You want to do the technical fighting. So that's the fight of the week and the previews. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of UFC 262, what you think of the fights this coming weekend, maybe make some predictions. Be sure to check out MMA-Freak.com for exclusive content. Be sure to check out our Twitter at MMA-Freakout. Be sure to check out my personal social media at Matthew Salzer, both my Twitter and my Instagram. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.